This is Miss Sebastian, and we're going to be looking at area of parallelograms. In the last lesson, we looked at the area of a parallelogram, and we said the area equals the base times the height. In this one, we're going to have to go backwards because they give us the area. So I can plug that in here. Equals the base. We don't know what that is, but we do know the height is 5. So we're going to have to use our equation solving skills. And we're going to have to get rid of the multiply by 5. Okay, so to do that, we have to divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 just leaves me with 1b, and 100 divided by 5 gives me 20. So that tells me the base is 20 meters. Okay, what is the height of the parallelogram with a base length of 16 and an area of 136? So I'm just going to plug in what I know. I do not know the height, so I'm going to divide both sides by 16 to undo that multiplication. 16 divided by 16 leaves me with 1, and 136 divided by 16 is 8.5. So my answer is 8.5 meters. 8.5 meters. Number 3, what is the base of a rectangle with the height of 12.6 and the area of 28 98/100ths? So I'm going to put that first. 28 98/100ths equals the base times the height that we know is 12.6. So to go backwards here, I've got to take 28 98/100ths and divide both sides by 12 6/10. So on the right it cancels out because that just leaves us with 1. And on the left, when I divide by 12 6/100ths, I'm going to get this big ugly thing. Okay, that it's 2 3/10. So not quite so big and ugly, but it's not a whole number. And that will be meters. Whoops, if I can write. There we go, meters. Number 4, what is the base length of a rectangle with the height of 23 and the area of 437? So I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator to divide both sides by 23. On the right, it's just 1. And on the left, 437 divided by 23 does give me a base length of 19 feet. What is the height of a parallelogram whose base length is 22 and whose area is 308 meters squared? So I've got to undo the multiplication. You always want to do whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So when I divide, I do get that my height is 14 meters. Number 6, an artist is painting a parallelogram with a base of 45 and a height of 34. One tube will cover 400 centimeters squared. How many tubes of paint will the artist need? So the first thing I've got to do is figure out how much area we have to cover. So I'm going to multiply 45 times 34, and I get the area of the parallelogram is 1,530 centimeters squared. And if I know that each tube covers 400, I'm going to take that 1,530 centimeters squared and divide it by the 400 I know that each tube will cover. And when I do that, I get 3.825. But how many tubes will they need? I would say, here's your answer, but if they're going to the store to buy tubes, you can't buy 825 thousandths of a tube. You would have to actually get 4 tubes. The deck on a home is shaped like a parallelogram. The parallelogram, there we go, has an area of 544 and 5/10 and a base measurement of 16.5 feet. What is the height? So all I have to do is divide both sides by 16.5. On the right it cancels out because 16.5 divided by itself does give me 1. And when I divide 544 and a half divided by 16.5, I do get that the height is 33, and that is feet. Number 8, what is the base length of a rectangle whose height is 16 and whose area is 120? So all I need to do is divide both sides by 16. And 120 divided by 16 gives me 7.5, and I need those units, so that is centimeters. What is the height of a rectangle whose base length is 25 and whose area is 150? So I'm going to divide both sides by 25. And I do get that the height is equal to 6. And that is meters.